Call the City of Marine City Commission meeting to order. Regular meeting Thursday, July 18, 2019, 7 p.m. Let's please take a moment of silence for our dearly departed. And let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Vandebosch.
Here.
Commissioner Bryson.
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Here.
Commissioner Callahan.
Here.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner Merchant.
Here.
Commissioner Buchanan.
Here.
City Manager Love.
Here.
All right, moving on to communications. I need a motion to receive and file the monthly activity reports, the Marine City area run reports, and Mike Edrich, Waterworks System Operator S1 license.
So moved. Support.
Motion, support. Any questions on any of it? Yes, Lisa.
On the city manager's report, I guess on some of these things, they've been sitting on here a long time. I'd like to see some complete dates with some of these. I'd like to see that maybe we can start doing a few of our own ordinances. The letters for the sidewalk program, I think they kind of went out a little late. A lot of those cement guys were already committed, so that's going to be an issue, but there's been a lot of these ones. And then I got a whole list of things I think we could add, so we could start changing this up a little bit. That's the first thing. I saw in the building department that we're looking at a Hidden Harbor condominium at the end of Metropolis, and I'm kind of wondering whether we're going to think about extending that road since we have it there, since they're going to have to put in a temporary to bring in a lot of stuff. I really think that should be looked at so that we're not putting all that traffic onto 6th Street and out into West Boulevard where it's already overloaded. And the last thing is, I was looking at the police report. I see he completed the body camera in-car training in the office and all that. Has he got procedures, and are they using those?
Yes, they do have procedures written.
Are those coming here, or are we gonna be approving them?
Not really clear on that, so I did a little research on the previous general orders that were approved, and the bulk of the document, when it was created, was the only thing that was approved, and anything that had been updated or added had never been brought back to City Commission for approval.
Yet, we're supposed to approve all procedures. Just a thought. That's it. I think that's all I have.
Anybody else have anything? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to public comment. Anyone in attendance is welcome to address the City Commission. Please state your name and address. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. This is the time for you to raise issues. The Commission will not respond, but issues will be followed up upon as necessary.
Hello, my name is Danielle Donahue. I live at 126 South Market, and I'm just one of the residents that was interested in the Economic and Development Board. I just wanted to come and introduce myself so you guys could put a face with the name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle.
Anyone else like to speak? Hearing none, moving on to approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion, support. Any questions on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to approval of the City Commission regular meeting minutes, June 20th, 2019.
So moved.
Support.
Motion, support. Any corrections or deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda with the special event permit for the Maritime Days and business license for Treps Treasures.
So moved. Support.
Questions on the, yes, Lisa?
Maritime, we have somebody here? Okay. I guess, do you guys have the insurance?
Yeah, it's in there. It's a long, it's not like a one-page document that you're used to seeing, it's a long.
It's all this?
Yes.
'Cause- Oh, Nickel and Staff did that one, all right. So in one spot, I saw that it was going from Washington to Holy Cross, and another one, it showed the whole town. Are you doing the whole downtown? Okay. And I'm assuming they met with Mike at Rich to set up all the stuff, and they got that all resolved?
Yesterday we met.
Did they meet with the fire chief for the,
He signed off on it.
okay. So you'll leave room for a fire lane? Okay.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bryson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes?
Commissioner Callahan?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Commissioner Merchant?
Yes.
Commissioner Verkaman?
Yes.
Mayor Mannenbosch?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to unfinished business. Friends of City Hall, they're requesting a waiving of the tap fee.
Thank you. I'm Judy White, the new president of Friends of City Hall. When our request for a waiver failed the last time, ultimately Laura Skasha and I sat down, had a meeting, and talked about it. And Laura made a very, very generous offer, and that is to cover 1/3 of the expense of the tap fee. Friends of City Hall to cover 1/3, and then to request the city to cover the final third. And that, of course, is precisely what I'm here to ask for tonight. This water line, its tap fee and all of that, serves the entire building. So it serves not only Friends of City Hall, but ultimately it will provide the water for a sprinkler system that will, in part, protect the area that is leased by the teen rec zone. So there's mutual interest in doing this. And I would very much hope for your support. That water line is an unexpected expense for us. It will cost us $30,000 to do that, the tap fee on top of it. There are additional expenses for rudimentary plumbing, coming into the building and capping it off, and none of this results yet in any kind of sprinkler system or fire protection for the building. That, is on top of that particular expense. So this was a shock and a surprise to us. We think we can survive this and get most everything we need in for the fire suppression system. We've worked really, really hard on fundraising. But that comes hard. It's not easy, and we haven't had, huge donors or a lot of success with major grants at this moment. We continue to work on that. We haven't given up, but that's where it's at.
Mrs. White, I've got one question. Why are you going with a 6-inch? It just seems excessive when all 28 rooms were serviced at the inn with a 4-inch. Just
I
seems
ha-
like a big line.
I haven't gotten a final answer on that. I think it would be a bit cheaper for us if he
Huge.
would go to a 4-inch diameter.
4-inch, yeah.
But he has to be able to sprinkle 4 levels within the building, which includes, above the ceiling on the second floor. And I think that his concern is having enough pressure.
But his
Now,
overall height isn't that much more than the third level of the Inn on Water Street. I know it's 4 levels, but one of them's, sub.
Well, I'm certainly not here to argue in
No,
favor of
and
the
I'm
six.
not either, because I'm not an inspector on fire suppression, just trying to save you some money. And,
Well, I appreciate that, and other people have asked us the same question. And I guess the We are meeting with him tomorrow, and I will raise that issue again, and hopefully he will have something different to say, but
Because that's tied into a very good main there. That main runs off of Earl, and it's one of the better ones in the community.
I'm pleased to hear that.
Might pay to get a second opinion.
Yeah, I would venture to get a second opinion on that because of the cost on us. Everything from a 4 to a 6 is a huge price difference. And even with the tap, just the tap alone is a third less, I believe, for the tap. I don't have it in front of me, but
The man who owns the company is well aware of our finances. He is well aware of the circumstances. He's toured the building, which, by the way, he likes a great deal. He's very enthusiastic about helping to protect it. So I know he's very sympathetic to us.
It's about $1,000 a month.
yeah.
That's right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to find out about the teen center. I thought when we went into this that the teen center was separated, and there's a fire separation wall between there going up. Has anybody been up in the ceiling of that building and seen that brick wall that's 8 inches to 10 inches wide, goes all the way to the roof? And have they rated that wall?
Okay, I can speak on that behalf. So what we ended up doing is there's 2 phases for River Rec Teen Zone. Phase 1 only includes the garage, and that will be, fire will be contained with a fire safety door, fire regulatory door, which has been installed. Phase 2, we're not touching yet. So when we begin Phase 2, and we will have to do the fire suppression as they will, we'll be tapping in and using this same line for our section.
I think
So
what he's-
for right now, Phase 1 is fine the way it is. It's been approved. We have all the plans. Phase 1, I mean, Phase 2, we're not even touching yet.
I think what he's getting at is you probably really don't need this fire suppression system.
In Phase, yes, we do. In Phase 2.
Are you going up 2 stories?
It's because we have their second story above us, we need it. We've talked to Herb Blackstock numerous times to try to get away from that and maybe put in some type of drywall. I know there's like a double drywall that you can put into the ceiling. We can't do it.
5/8 drywall, double it, it gives you your fire rating.
Yeah, we can't do it. We did, we tried. We
This
have.
is cheaper than a fire suppression system.
Does he give you a reason why? I mean,
This is something I visited, it's already 6 months ago. Right now, we're focusing just on Phase 1 so that we can be open, sometime, hopefully by end of August, or at least have a ribbon cutting by that time. So we've looked at different things. It's just, we're going to be limited.
I think
So-
everybody's just trying to find ways to
I know.
save you money because.
Absolutely.
Even though
It's
people tell
expensive.
you these things, sometimes a second opinion might be a good way to go.
Right, our section is smaller than what they have, to deal with, so it is going to be a little bit less. I do think we have, in looking at it today, we have a lot of plumbing that was actually there. I don't know what can be saved, but we're not there yet to start, opening up that can of worms, so.
Our design calls for bringing the piping to that moment, that point where it would go into, through the wall and so on into their quarters. And there will be appropriate connections there, planning for the future. And we want to move them, and they want to move them.
Any other questions? I really find it's important for this fire protection. I really do support having more sprinkled buildings, especially if we have the public in them, and then the change of use. I think it's very vital, son, and the more we can sprinkle, the better off we are as a community.
That
So-
building has never had that kind of protection in its history for 135 years. Extremely lucky that there hasn't been an event in that building because the core of that building is hardwood and over 135 years old, obviously, and extremely vulnerable.
Yeah, them floor joists over there look like they were put in yesterday. I had to go through that building 4 times with engineers because everyone had a different opinion.
All right, any other questions on it? Hearing none, we'll need a roll call vote, please.
You don't have a motion?
Motion.
I think you have several options for a motion here. So first and foremost, you can make the motion as it stands with the tap fee on the sheet that you have to pay a third. You could also potentially say, make a motion to pay a third up to that amount, dependent upon them seeing if they can go down to a 4-inch. Also heard some concerns from Mr. Clausen, whether or not they need the fire suppression at all. Possibly you could table it upon further exploration of that, but I think Laura kind of mentioned that they've talked to their experts along with our building official and determined that it is necessary and that they've explored other options. And then, of course, any other option of paying any certain amount or nothing.
Can we get a copy of that report?
I'm sorry, what?
Can we get a copy of that report?
What report?
And that it needs to be totally sprinkled.
There isn't a report.
It just came from, that was something that was told to me by my architect, that per Blackstock. We had numerous meetings regarding that.
Well, pardon me. So fire protection is rated in the code in the whole section on when and where it has to be and the use of the building. That's why I'm asking, how did they determine that the 5/8 drywall would be cheaper than a fire protection system to split it up that way? And because you're going 4 stories or 4 floors, they're doing 1.
The technical difference on that is the section that we're talking about here is not going to be used. That's phase 2. Phase 1 is just the garage. That's protected.
Yeah, he's
We
not
can't, we
disputing.
cannot utilize,
That's not under dispute. That-
Okay.
Just the fact that you would have to put one in at all because of the single story and that brick
it's
wall
because of
between
what
the
is
two.
above, that is
Yeah, I
why.
think he's also asking why you couldn't do the other option.
He'd like to see what type of documentation they gave you. I mean, he's done it for 30
It was
some
just,
years.
it was verbal, and then it was based on what we were told by the building inspector, that
Yeah,
said that,
so-
you know, the building with the use that we want,
Mixed
phase
use.
2 requires this. Otherwise, we would already be into phase 2 doing it. So we would have been, you know, we'd be working on phase 1 and phase 2. But that was not decided by me, that was decided, right? Okay.
It's almost like he would like to get a set of eyes on it and maybe make things easier for you. I don't want to put volunteering to look at it in your mouth
I
or
would be
anything.
more than happy for
I-
you
I-
to
I
come
have-
and look at it, Bill.
I have stuff in another office from a sprinkler company because I have the same problem with a 2-story building in another municipality that I've been working on. And we were trying to figure out how they could separate it and not have to do the whole thing. It's the occupancy load that's killing the other side because it's a restaurant.
Yeah, and if there's a way that you can maybe find some way around this, you know, even if you make a motion, if you do find a way around it that we don't need it, then.
Then
the
that would allow
motion be null and
you,
void.
you could appeal it. You could appeal the decision
Okay.
and then save yourself money.
Okay.
I mean, that's all he's trying to do.
Okay, and that's fine. We will continue to research it when we move on to phase 2, and if that is the case, then we can do that. Right now, I just got board approval. We are moving forward. We would love to work, the 3 of us together, to be able to get this done for the building, because we are all interested in preserving this building. So that's what I got.
I'd like to make a motion. Understanding that it's in everyone's best interest to keep the price as low as possible, that we proceed with waiving 1/3 of the tap fee not to exceed, what's 1/3 of that? It is $2,167.
Nope, it's on the
Oh,
next page,
on the back?
the 3rd page.
Oh, $2,083.33.
Second.
Motion second. Now let's have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hendrick,
No,
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
No,
Commissioner Merchant,
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan,
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the Marine City Area Fire Authority intergovernmental agreement.
No, you can do it. This is your agreement.
We, first of all, I want to make a comment. I had the opportunity to attend a host of meetings of the Marine City Fire Authority. I believe the authority functions very well. And I'm not saying that gratuitously because I told them that. And I think they do a great job in running good meetings and conducting good affairs. They've been long governed by an intergovernmental agreement that needed some work. So we had very good discussions on all kinds of issues, ranging from how to marshal the assets, how to look at the assets if there's a termination, how to handle people who in the future might want to leave the agreement. And we went round and round and round, and we ended up with an agreement that clarified what needs to be legally clarified. And now each member of the authority is going to review the same agreement, and all have to approve the same agreement for the agreement to become the agreement. So there's not a lot changing. Some of the highlights of what was clarified is that with respect to, we got the right laws, we got the right citations, we fixed a lot of the grammar, we fixed a lot of the wording, and we made it clear that how the assets would work with a departing community, and we clarified that language, which was pretty silent in the prior agreement. So what you have before you is the current version, which I believe each community is examining this particular version, and the fire authority representatives have approved this version of the agreement. So it's before you for approval. I believe it's going before the other boards for approval as well.
Any questions on it? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, can I make a motion? Since I'm on the authority?
Sure.
Okay. Make the motion that we approve the updated Marine City Area Fire Authority intergovernmental agreement.
Second.
Any questions on it? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Callahan?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Commissioner Merchant?
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to the design proposal for 260 South Parker.
So as part of the renovation of the building at 260 South Parker, one of the first things that you really want to do is work with the design professional to help configure the space and make sure that it's going to work and meet your needs and everything is designed as optimally as possible. Working with the attorney, he had worked with this firm previously, and they really specialize in municipal operations, and he's worked with them in the past. This is a proposal that we received that, in essence, is kind of the first phase and first part of any type of relocation. It includes a needs assessment and work sessions and a final conceptual presentation that would be provided at a city commission meeting for consideration. That would also include a proposed budget for what the project would cost. This proposal from Partners in Architecture out of Mount Clemens is for a not-to-exceed fee of $4,800. They also do mention in their proposal about the potential, should we go with them and potentially continue to want to work with them in the future, of Phase 2, we could work with them on the design build, and they in essence would work as the project manager, contract out all of the work and manage the project at a fee of 6 to 8% of the construction costs, which is fairly typical, I believe, for projects like this. So at this point, we would be looking for a recommendation, or I'm sorry, a motion to accept this proposal.
Could I speak on this?
Sure.
Mr. Mayor? It might be wise, to look at it from this standpoint. I've renovated or been involved in the renovation of many rural-based municipal buildings where this particular company is able to come in and they do a wonderful job at need assessment, and then, a couple of mine, they were able to build the new facility while we were still in there because they were building, while we were still functioning. In my other communities, it was difficult to go out for proposals for this type of work because I could not write a proposal sheet that architectural firms would understand what I was looking for. And I could never find anyone who did this particular service, i.e. the name Partners and Architect. They specialize, if you look at the laundry list, they specialize in municipal buildings. So when they do a needs analysis, they're gonna sit down with a clerk. They fully understand the clerk's duties with respect to documents, protection of documents, and the state obligations to have segregated documents, and they understand what a treasurer's office needs. They understand needing conference space. They understand the flow of public in and out of municipal buildings, and security. And security being a big issue. And many municipal buildings have absolutely no security for the people who work there in terms of the way the public is able to flow through buildings. So I'm recommending, that we go with this without the formal bid process, because I think if you took this out for bid, you're going to get responses that are $250,000, and you're going to get them at $4,800, because it's hard to explain what we're looking for at this point. And this company, I think, is a sole provider, specialist in this aspect of the business. We may not use them going forward, but the need analysis that they will do on this building, you will enjoy watching the presentation.
So will we have to waive the bidding?
I think we should waive the competitive bidding for procedural purposes, and I just wanted to give you some information that, number one, it's a professional service, and number two, it may be in the area of the sole provider of what we're looking for right now.
I don't see it being that, after dealing with architects and engineers, the price on that seems very reasonable. Especially for any time you have any drawings or, a system to go through the needs. It just seems reasonable.
Yeah.
And you said they are pretty
Yes.
time efficient and
Yes.
get done pretty quickly for
Yes.
us? Okay.
And I think the city manager has met with one of the principals already.
Two of them. I had a preliminary meeting, walked through our current building in 260 South Parker, kind of gave them some stats on some of the storage that we have.
Yeah, they didn't charge at all for that.
No.
Well, could we get a motion then to waive competitive bids? Just so we can get the conversation started.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, any questions on waiving competitive bids? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Merchant,
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan,
Yes.
Mayor Van Bosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. So if I could get a motion to approve the proposal in front of us.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal not to exceed 4,800 for, what's the company? Partners in Architecture.
Support.
Roll call.
Do I get a second?
Yeah.
We get a second? Okay, I'm sorry. It was one of our police officers were calling, so I may have to take a minute.
Roll call.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner
Is-
Merchant,
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. Moving on to DTE LED conversion proposal.
A couple weeks ago, I met with a representative from DTE, and they discussed a proposal for converting all of our just regular streetlights to LED. We have 356 streetlights, and our current annual costs for the electric for these lights are $89,000 a year. If we convert, our annual costs will be $61,000. The savings that we would see would be paid back, in essence, over 2.8 years. There would need to be some minor budget amendments, probably over the next year or so, based upon when installation would be. This is something that they, in essence, offer a bit of a rebate because they do the construction and installation. So that's why you see the DTE contribution, the cost to them is $77,000. The amount that we would have to pay is $88,000. They help us get the rebates back. So we, in essence, have to kind of pay the front, and then we'll get rebates after the fact.
I'll make a motion, we approve the streetlight LED conversion.
Support.
In the amount,
What's the amount?
88.
Highlighted, the gray at the bottom.
$88,056.
Support.
Motion support. I think this is a good idea, especially with the payback such a short period of time in energy saving, and then we'll be good for, I mean, it's such a deep, it's a wonderful program.
The long-term labor savings is significant. I did this, we did it in downtown Village of Oxford, and it was a tremendous savings over time.
And lighting is your cheapest form of security. And the light that these
Right.
emit are, I've seen them. I mean, it's phenomenal. So it's good.
Mike's staff time will drop replacing, monitoring these.
Excellent.
I just wish they would replace some of the old poles.
If is there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Verkaman,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Merchant,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. Excellent. Moving on to the Community and Economic Development Board appointment. I was hoping to discuss some of the terminology in the ordinance, and I know I should have did it 2 weeks ago, but actually it was brought up to me, and I didn't think about it quite this way until it was brought up to me later on, about having how we're picking the business leaders to be on the board, and I don't see how having a chamber member and non-chamber member be as effective as if we have one that's restaurant entertainment as compared to one that may be in the manufacturing or commercial area. That way we get different viewpoints from the community. So if we could get, and actually we get it from different sections of the city too, because our entertainment district is in one area, has different needs and wants than our commercial or manufacturing needs. And then we're not picking somebody, if they want to get on this board, they quit the chamber and so they can get on this board. I don't see that as a great way of doing it. So I was hoping that we could maybe delay this one meeting to make changes to if I could get support to the,
It's going to take more than one meeting.
To make changes, we'd have to do a new first and second reading and
right,
publish
but we
everything.
could, during that period, actually appoint somebody to the board before it was second reading, couldn't we? Or do you have to wait for both readings?
Yeah, you'd have to wait until you have a fully enacted ordinance before you even have the board.
And I didn't think of it this way. It was brought to my attention after it was done. I wish I would have known about it beforehand.
No, I thought the same thing.
Well, you do select the members, right? I mean, control it a little bit by who you select. You want to change and formalize the language so that it doesn't read that one is this and one is this.
Right.
That was kind of one of the discussions at the subcommittee was wanting diversity, and that was kind of part of the reason why they did this.
But part of it too on the committee was that we didn't want to load it all up with just business people either. So you have to be careful there.
That's why I only want to talk about the ones that are business owners. I'm not,
You're good with the rest.
yeah, I just would like to do it so we can, I'm trying to incorporate some of our King Road, DeGursey, and even the Chartier areas to try and get them more involved in the,
How would you suggest wording that?
I don't know.
Oh, that's my job.
Yeah. Mr. Moran.
Yeah.
Isn't that the purpose, or in my mind, that was the purpose of having one person selected by the Chamber of Commerce? I would assume that a lot of those business owners on DeGursey and King Road would be members of the chamber, at least someone.
Well,
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
Because our membership is, as Erica can relate to, is, we don't have big sections that are all members or non-members. It's all over the makeup of the community, correct, Erica? We don't have a consistency on who's a member and who's not. And to label it as somebody that's a non-member might be somebody that owns a restaurant as compared to somebody that owns a factory. You know, I would just like to see if we can try and just tweak it to reword it. So I'd like to bring more industry on the board, not just entertainment or tourism, because both are very important to the community. I mean, we need both because we need jobs, but we also, but we need tourism. We need people to come in the community. So I'd like to see it look at both directions with this committee. Yes, Lisa.
being that, I don't have a problem with it, I think, you know, I don't have a problem that we can do it that way. Because, yeah, I want to make sure that we get a good cross mix of everybody into this. And I don't think waiting a little longer is going to really kill us on this one. So I'd make a motion that we postpone this pending the evaluation of rewording some of the language for appointments.
Support.
I mean, the way it's structured, so right now you have one member representing the Chamber of Commerce to be appointed by the Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Then you kind of pick the other person,
Right.
right? So you may already know what kind of business the first person is in. But you don't want to have the first one being a member of the chamber, have to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce.
But I mean, being a chamber member is I think a great thing to do for the community, but I don't know if it's necessarily essential to have somebody automatically from the chamber.
Okay.
You know, in my opinion, unless I'm wrong. I mean, it's great to have them represented, and I would encourage it, but do we have to be, you know, somebody from the chamber? They represent a lot of business owners, but I would just like to try and make sure we keep diversity on this board.
I'm going to be honest, when the chamber, when we first started looking at this, we read this at, this member from the chamber had to be from the chamber board, which I think would be a good idea since they have a pretty good idea of what's going on with the chamber and with business. So that's where the chamber was going with this initially, and it wasn't, I think, until probably, I don't even know if it was at our last meeting or whatever it was, that we kind of figured out, no, it doesn't say the board, it just says Chamber of Commerce. But it might not be a bad idea to say that one of the members needs to come from the Chamber of Commerce board.
I mean, we've been talking about this for a little bit yet now, and I talk to a lot of people. I see a lot of people every day, and I know a lot of manufacturing business owners, and I didn't have any of them ask me about this. That's the thing.
I know.
You know, now we're going, okay, if we're being so specific, then we have to go and solicit them to say, look, we got, nothing's wrong with that because I can do that. But I think we got a pretty good thing going right now, and I just wonder if we should just keep it going as is and then maybe tweak it a little bit as we continue.
Get it going and change it later
Yeah, get it
if
going.
necessary.
Let's just get it going. You know?
I mean, it
Because
does,
then-
it
then
does,
we
it
build
does
an
give you, it does give you some flexibility, because you'll know who the chamber person is, and then just don't pick somebody who's of a similar business
Okay.
acumen, you know? If the person the chamber picks is a restaurant owner, then, you know, don't appoint another restaurant.
Right.
You also want to make sure on all these boards too, that we're not picking more business owners off of the other boards too, because I know that was a big concern of the entire board. We don't want to load it up with just that, we want a good mix of people.
I think this board has a really good mix.
And then you get to pick the Marine City residents, right? We'll have somebody from the commission, somebody from the planning commission, and somebody from TIFA, right?
Right. So your legal opinion is to leave it as is, as a legal end of
Well,
it.
maybe leave it as is, get it started, and see how it goes. We can always amend it.
I agree.
All right.
All right?
Do you know, have any of the local manufacturing owners even called the city and even been interested in this, let alone fill out an application?
No, the applications that you have
Yep.
are all that we've received.
But no one's even asked her questions about it from
No.
that sector?
And honestly, Jacob, I have talked
Yeah.
to manufacturing business owners in our community on DeGursey. I have talked to them. And they know that this is happening, so.
Yeah, we've talked about this numerous times, is that we
Yep.
have problems with people filling vacant positions. You know, and then, I mean, you get applications, and so often you select people because they're the only applications you get.
Yes.
There's not a requirement. You
Right.
don't necessarily have to. You can run some boards with vacancies, as we already are with some other boards.
So what happens if the next person who applies for the non-chamber person is, you know, maybe it is from manufacturing, but they're a chamber member? I mean, if you want, I mean, are you able to then select them even if they are a chamber member? If it's the only person and we want diversity in this whole group? I mean, if somebody came forward from over on DeGursey, is that, I mean, is it?
The
Is
language
it
in
that? Is it
there
that?
says other than a chamber member.
So you can't waiver at all?
You're excluded
Even though
from
that's
that.
the only one coming in?
Right.
You want to have diversity?
You would operate
can't-
without that seat until you get a person other than a chamber member.
So they'd have to quit the chamber to become it,
Right.
if they were,
You know, I don't want to see somebody leave the Chamber of Commerce because
I don't
the,
know if they would do that, right?
Yeah, they would.
oh,
yeah, they would.
They would?
Yeah, some have thought about it, so. And I don't want to see that, I don't want to see that group suffer for us to put a board together, you know, as that part of it. Because the, somewhat of the power of the chamber is in their membership and their people and, you know, I don't know. What's the feeling of the board? That's my opinion, and we know what happens when you send things to committee, in my opinion. I've repeated that over and over again.
Yeah, we have committees and committees that are a recommending body to us, to the board. The board is the one that always has last decision.
Well, we do have a couple motions that we're looking for here, actually even aside from that conversation. So one thing you'd be looking to do is appoint your member from city commission. And another thing we're looking to do is set the time and date of when this group will meet. The other matter, that's something, if you want us to bring back a revised ordinance, we can do that. But I don't think that there's anything that would hold you back from at least appointing a member. It doesn't mean that you're going to start tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, we have had a motion and a second in discussion, so do we have to vote on this one and make another motion?
Refresh my memory, what is the term for the members? Is it a one-year term or 2 years?
3 years.
3 years? Okay.
So,
Or as long as they sit on, say, you were a commissioner
3 years.
and you were,
I was thinking more the 2 that you would appoint.
you're sitting there smiling, Mr. Merchant.
I-
What's
no,
your
I'm-
opinion?
I'm just trying to take it all in.
so let's take this one piece at a time, I guess. So one thing we're looking for, and this could potentially make it easier for getting applicants, is the day and time when we're going to meet. So we've been looking at the schedule of meetings that we have and availability of fire hall, and there's not a lot of options. So we've got the fourth Wednesday of the month, or the first, third, or fourth Monday of a month. And then we would also recommend meeting at 6 o'clock, because one of the things that we would like to do in the future when we move over to the new building is start transitioning meetings to 6 o'clock, so that in our office, we can just walk over to the meeting and not have this hour gap that we have to pay people.
The problem with moving the times is the people that come home from work and they want to attend meetings. It's the whole reason why they're at 7. Gives them time to come home, eat, do what they have to do, and then attend the meeting. That's why we've always had the complaints about the TIFA board meeting so early, and people couldn't attend it, so I don't know if I'd want to move it.
So, I mean, 7 o'clock for everything, or, maybe in the future, we can move everything to 6:30 at the new building. That would give people time to get home, have a quick dinner, and get to a meeting.
Assuming that everybody works full-time and does that 9
Very
to
true,
5.
yes.
So I think we should I make a recommendation to do the Wednesday. What did you say, the fourth Wednesday?
The fourth Wednesday.
Fourth Wednesday, meet in the middle at 6:30. If this board wants to meet earlier, then we can. Yes, we can change it to 6.
This would be the time that we'd be setting, like all of our other meetings.
Yeah, they have to be set a year in advance.
Oh,
Yeah.
See,
Approve the whole schedule.
Yeah.
yeah.
before we go too far down the rabbit hole, do we need to vote on the current motion
Yeah, we
that's
do
on the
have a
floor?
motion on the floor.
You don't have a second, so you don't have to worry about
we
it.
did.
Yes, we do.
Did you?
I think Mr. Clausen,
Oh.
And that was to
sorry, can you
table
hear
it?
And
That
then we
was
have
to
to,
read.
Yes.
so the motion to table takes precedence, so we need to vote on that first.
So, any questions on tabling?
So if we table it, we just,
We're just gonna,
We would move on to,
More discussion on it.
we would table on
Till the next meeting.
till the next meeting for the verbiage, but we could set dates. Right?
If nobody agrees if nobody agrees to want to change the verbiage,
Yeah,
then
Then we
you don't
wouldn't.
need to table it.
right.
gotcha.
So, if there's no any questions, we'll do a roll call vote on this.
this is just the motion to table.
Yes.
Mayor Vandebosch,
Oh, committees. Oh, and yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
No.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yeah.
Commissioner Callahan,
No.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Merchant,
No.
Commissioner Verkaman.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay. Then let's move on to setting a date for them. And
Okay. I make a motion to do the fourth Wednesday of the month. I'd prefer 6 o'clock, but I guess we're going to have to do 6:30.
Could do whatever time.
So
I'm going
the
to say 6 o'clock.
So your motion is for the fourth Wednesday at.
Fourth Wednesday of the month at 6 PM for the Economic Development Board to meet.
Second?
in that, how often do they meet?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Okay.
Every fourth Wednesday.
Every fourth Wednesday. Any other questions on that?
It's 6 o'clock, right?
6 o'clock. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
No, I'm just qualifying too, I don't like the time.
Okay. Commissioner Callahan?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Commissioner Merchant?
Yes.
Commissioner Verkaman?
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, then now we've set the date and time for meetings.
Probably your next easiest thing would be to select a city commission member
Okay.
as the representative.
I'd like to throw my name in the hat.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a
Can
motion.
I make a motion for myself?
I would also like this, I would like to nominate Lisa Hendricks also, just because of, she's been working on this committee for, how long have you guys been trying to put this committee together?
Too long.
Yeah.
So we would need a second, correct?
Well.
You have two recommendations.
Two recommendations.
Is there a second on the first one, and then we'll go to this, however you want to do it?
Yeah. Yes, Paul?
Do we, okay,
Okay.
I'm good, I'm good,
Okay.
I'm good. So we need to do a second?
We need a second,
On,
one or the other.
I will second Paul's motion to appoint Cheryl Verkaman.
You made a motion? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I did,
Did you?
I guess.
Okay.
Paul's a quiet guy.
I am.
He's a quiet guy?
Yeah.
I missed it. I'm,
So did I.
I thought you did.
Did you seriously make a motion?
I did,
I seen you do this. That's all I seen.
I can make a motion, I'll make a motion to have Cheryl Verkaman on the
All right, we've got a motion and second on the floor. Roll call, any questions, I'm sorry.
I guess my only concern is, again, and not that I need another meeting, the problem that I'm getting into is we have so many business members on this board, and so that puts in another slot. And again, remember, Joe, we talked about this, because we've got a business owner here, we got
Well,
a
my
business owner
is for
here.
sale, so hopefully I won't be a business owner too much longer.
It's just a concern, that's
Right.
the concern
I get
with
it.
the people.
I get it. The people like other stuff too, so.
All right, so we got any other questions or concerns on the nomination? Hearing none, roll. Whoop.
Let me make one more point. You know, you could go as one of the business members.
Yeah, I know.
but she doesn't have an application in.
Nope. I want to be on the city commission spot.
But we're not picking them all, I don't think, tonight, are we? We don't have enough people anyway.
On the number of applications we have for this, do we have enough to fill the board?
Yes, we do.
We do, okay. I hate committees. All right, moving on. Any other questions on this nomination? We're gonna get this done. I wanna go home.
Roll call vote.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick.
No,
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
It doesn't be a member. Yes.
Commissioner Merchant.
Yes.
Commissioner Verkaman.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Now we need to choose,
Planning commission?
No, Planning
already got
Commission
it.
is
they
Joe
picked their
Moran.
own.
Planning
They
Commission
picked
was
their own.
selected by
They picked
them,
their
and
own.
it's Joe Moran. Tifa, they did not have a quorum at their last
Right.
meeting, so that will be picked back up at their next meeting.
okay,
And the chamber, I believe, check with the city attorney, they have already appointed someone, so I think it's just there as a formality, is that correct? We don't have to appoint them today.
okay, so there,
Okay.
that's a done deal
In
then.
the ordinance, it
Chamber
says to
already
be
did.
chosen by the chamber.
Okay,
Okay?
And that's Laura Scotcha.
so that one's
So we
handled.
take this one out of the mix.
I just put it in there for information
Take
purposes.
Laura's out. Right.
And then all we have then is a not,
Residents,
The
A
non-chamber.
member and 2 residents.
So I make a motion to appoint Kathy Burton as the non-chamber member for the Development Board.
Second.
This is what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah.
It's
getting loaded up.
It's all loaded up with one type of business. Theaters and restaurants. Anyway,
Can I add, though, so we've got, I think what we need here is, so we got Kathy Burton in his business, Terry
it's a.
Abrams, is he in his business or citizen?
Citizen.
He's got a business.
I know, that's what I was saying,
He's
Yeah.
got a
don't know.
business.
No, I don't have a business.
No? Okay.
Go.
You're not running your antique store and your other thing?
Never have run it.
Okay. All right.
So we've got 3 residents here.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay.
All right, so we've got a motion for Kathy Burton, and we got a second?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? Oh, any questions? I'm sorry.
Doesn't it just come down to you? You have to appoint it, the mayor. Isn't that what it says?
Some are and some aren't. This one is,
Yeah.
was this one?
No.
By
written?
commission.
No, it's
It's appointed by you. It's correct.
So you can.
be appointed by the mayor or, and approved.
At this time, I'm not appointing anyone. So, done.
Okay.
Moving on to the next. We have to appoint a resident.
I make a motion
right?
to, I got to do both? or one at a time?
No.
Still has to be approved?
You have to appoint.
Right.
Correct?
I don't have to.
No, you don't have. No,
That's why I didn't, some of
Yeah.
them we
Yeah.
have it written in that we have to, and some that we don't,
So you're leaving that one vacant right now?
for now, yes.
So the residents?
Two also.
3 to choose from.
So we're not gonna vote on the,
Okay.
So the non-chamber member, is that what we're doing?
Correct.
Non-chamber
Not
member.
doing that.
Not
Yeah.
doing it
Right,
tonight.
okay.
So we just need the resident.
Gotcha.
And we have,
Do we do
Gary,
both at the
Stacy,
same, do we do
and
2 at the
Danielle
same time or 1 each?
so we have 3 then,
I would do one.
One at a time?
one at a time,
Oh, and
yes.
half.
All right, I make a
So we
motion.
have,
It's the mayor's
It's
appointment.
He has to appoint it. It'll be appointed by the mayor.
yeah.
Oh, I don't have
And then
a
we- and
motion?
Some of them we do, this one we wrote it as
You appoint it, but the commission has to approve
approve
it.
it,
Vote,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, I get it.
So we have 3 different,
We have 4.
4?
Well, Terry,
Yeah,
it's
Heather-
not a business.
Heather
Heather
Hatcher.
Hatcher, Danielle Donahue,
Oh,
uh,
never mind, I missed that one.
Stacy, and Terry.
Danielle was the one that was here.
Danielle was the one that was here, correct?
She was here, yes.
Okay, I'd like to appoint Danielle to this board.
Support.
Go ahead and vote on that one.
Yeah. We got motion support. Any questions on that? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Merchant,
Yes.
Commissioner Verkaman,
Yes.
Mayor Van Bosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
motion carries.
Then I'd like to appoint Heather Hatcher.
Support.
Vote on that one.
Yep. Any questions on that one? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Merchant,
Yes.
Commissioner Verkaman,
Yes.
Mayor Van Bosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay.
Now what?
That's all we're doing tonight.
That's all we're doing. So we're done with this for now. Thanks. Mr. Moran. Thanks. Thank you. Oh, moving on to employee classification wage reimbursement table.
So as I mentioned at our last meeting, when we had the policy and procedure handbook, with some of the changes in positions with Elizabeth leaving, It was necessary to update the wage and classification table. I have been working with the HR legal representative, and they actually said this should not be a part of the policy and procedure. It should be a separate standalone document. This is something that I envision is in the future being included when we do the budget approval and being updated then. I have changed the table around quite a bit. That's why I included our current one for comparison's sake. I have included the wages for all of the current employees and made them, in essence, consistent for similar type jobs. The deputy clerk job also includes communications coordinator, that being doing all of our information for web, Facebook, anything like that that we do. And I've also included a new position, a grant writer position, that I've structured as a part-time position under me. This is something that really, in essence, any employee would be eligible to do. It would be subject to a budgeted amount in our annual budget for grant writing. And applications would need to be approved by me, potentially subject to city commission for obviously some of the larger grants. These would be things that would be in line with our strategic plan, our master plan, our needs in the community. Upon application, the person that wrote it would get 1% of the grant amount, a maximum of $500. And should we be awarded the grant, it would be another 1%, maximum of $1,000.
That's a great idea.
Where did you come up with the 1%? Is it a customary?
I just kind of ran some numbers to see what really kind of worked out, and I wanted to make sure that I included a cap, because obviously if you do a $10,000 grant and $1 million grant, you don't want to get 1% of $1 million, because
Right.
we couldn't pay that.
Right, okay.
So I had to be something realistic, and I think that this is something that will hopefully help stimulate our grant writing. Michelle has been kind of doing it actually on the side, unpaid for us, and she's gotten us almost $100,000 in grants over the last year. So this is something that more than likely she will be our primary grant writer because of her success. She's been doing a great job for us. Other employees could be eligible for writing grants, but as I said, it'd be subject to a maximum amount that we would have in the budget. At this point, I would recommend $10,000 in the budget as a limit for this fiscal year. And then any other people in the office could potentially write grants. But like I said, it would all be something that would come to me. I would have to approve it. It'd have to be within a budgeted amount the city commission puts in the annual budget.
Well, ultimately, it comes back to you, doesn't it?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Ultimately, it comes back to you. And I don't know, was that part of your job? What was your job description?
It would be under my position. I would be the one in charge of it, yes. Most grant applications are either signed by me or by the mayor. It all depends on the grant application and who it is that needs to sign them.
I was more saying, not just signing off on it, but you getting
You
the
actually
grant.
writing the grant.
I'm not quite.
You writing the grant as the city manager.
I
Isn't that
have,
part-
I have been involved in helping write some of the grants, but I don't exclusively do that, no.
So right now,
And
you're
it's not something that I would get.
Right.
Just to make that clear, it's not something that if I wrote a grant, I would get.
Can I write a grant and get 1%? I'm just asking.
Employees. It's part of the employee classification wage table.
All right. Now, right now, you're looking for approval on this, or?
Yes.
Okay. Can we get a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion, we approve the non-contractual employee classification wage and reimbursement table.
Second.
Support.
Motion support. Any other questions on it? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to deputy clerk appointment.
Chris, you want to? Address
As you
this?
know,
We're doing it
Elizabeth
one at a
left,
time.
and I've been kind of carrying the ball for a little while, feeling out the situation. We've got somebody good in our office we were just speaking about, Michelle Goodrich. I've been having communication with her even before Elizabeth left, because Elizabeth never stated, had no interest in becoming city clerk. I'm looking to retire, and I've been eyeballing who we could get to step up to fill in my shoes so I could start training them. And I've been speaking with Michelle because I see a future in her with the city, and it just worked out that way. So unfortunately, she won't be able to do a lot of the meetings right now because she has young children, but she's very eager to learn my job to someday hopefully replace me.
So at this point, we'd just be looking for a motion to approve her as the deputy clerk. Per the charter, that is something that city commission needs to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve Michelle Goodrich as the deputy clerk.
Support.
Motion support. Any questions on it?
And she's our grant writer, too.
Busy lady.
No questions, hearing no questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to financial business, including the disbursements, including payroll of $591,590.85.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve total disbursements, including payroll and bond payment of $591,590.85.
Support.
Motion support. Questions? Concerns on this? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bertrand.
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Moving on to preliminary financial statements. Need a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions on it? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to the city manager's report.
Since my last report, I attended the TIFA meeting, and as I mentioned, there was not a quorum at that, so they will be meeting again next month to pick their community development representative for that board. I attended a meeting regarding the live streaming ship cam with the chamber and the mayor as well. They are looking to get funding for their next year. I think it was in the amount of $3,000 a year, so the chamber will be working on getting donations for that. I've been working on some pension board concerns. We did get packets out today, so hopefully we will have everything in place and ready to go on that. There was a water leak at the plant. Lisa kind of noticed some ponding that we had over the winter, and we thought it was actually drainage from the roof. Turns out that there was a leaking tank inside the water plant, so we had that shut down for a day and cleaned out and sealed, so hopefully we won't have any more leaking there. We have a crack inside of our water tank. The feed tube that sends the water into the tank has a little bit of a crack in it. Fortunately, we are such good customers, and the company that we contract with for our water tank is so happy with us. They are going to fix it at no cost to us. There is going to be a little bit of a cost for a portion of it, but they're going to fix it for us. I did a walkthrough of 300 Broadway, kind of split up between River Rec Teen Zone and Friends of City Hall over the last couple days, just to check and see what they've been doing. Things have been going very smoothly over on the River Rec Teen Zone. I know they're hoping to have their ribbon cutting and kind of opening up offices there middle of August. As Laura had mentioned, it's in essence really just half of the space. Today I had an opportunity to go through the other half of the building, and they've done a lot of demolition type work, more so just tearing down the materials and getting things ready. The staircase is looking very nice. They almost have that complete, so they'll be working on some of the finishing touches for that stairway. I've been following up with department heads. It seems like on a number of complaints. I don't know if it's just the hot weather that's bringing things out, but been dealing with a lot of that. The auditors have completed their preliminary review, and it looks like everything is just fine with that. So they'll be back in September to complete everything before we get our audits. The crack sealing has started on Water Street. They've been trying to do it in the mornings and be off the street by 6:30 so that they don't get in the way of the lunch and dinner traffic. I've been working with the city attorney on numerous legal and future agenda items. Lisa had mentioned something about ordinances earlier. I've been working with him on a number of ordinances aside from the Wade Trim proposal. I think we'll probably have a couple at the next meeting. I've been working with the HR attorney on policies and procedures. I did get a draft today. I don't know if I'll be able to look at that and have it ready for our next meeting, but that is in progress. I've been following up on a lot of the grant projects that we've been doing. The one great thing about grants is it helps pay for things, but then there's also a lot of paperwork and time and effort that goes into that. I don't know if you had an opportunity to take a look at the DPW report, but there was over 200 hours that they spent out at King Road Park working on the installation of things like the concrete sidewalk and doing the stenciling, all that kind of stuff that we in essence did as in-kind services for our share of the grant. Other grant projects I've been following up on, Safe Routes to Schools, they've got a punch list and have been working on things for that. The tourism grant, we've got that submitted to them, everything is complete. The wayfinding signs have been received. They dropped them off day before yesterday, so they should start installing those signs, and they look beautiful. The water plant grant, I've submitted that application, I'm sorry, the grant approval signature for that, and I've provided it to Wade Trim for them to take a look at because there are a lot of particular things that they need to make sure that they do as part of the grant. And then also the Kaboom Parklet grant. We did get that grant, so we'll be working forward, or we'll be working on that in the future. I've been doing a little bit of research on the library board, trying to find out a little bit more about that board. We did have a couple of appointments, and I had questions about that board. We don't seem to get any communication back from them as to what's going on. And normally, a lot of our other boards, we get the meeting minutes and haven't really seen or had any communication from library board, so I'll be continuing to do some research on that as well. Been dealing with the fire damaged house as well. Typically, dealing with insurance companies and everything, it takes 6 months to a year to get a house torn down unless it is something that is declared by the fire department to be a unsafe building and needs to be torn down. We do have a dangerous buildings board, and we're to the point where if they keep showing progress, we'll keep working with them, but they have until the 31st to really get things moving. Otherwise, we will be starting with the dangerous buildings board. We did call around and make sure that everyone that's on the board is still willing to serve. We do still have one vacancy for a state registered architect or engineer. We can operate that board with that seat as a vacancy and move forward, but still we'd love to have applications if anyone can bring one in. And then next week I will be at my conference. I will be in the office Monday, wrapping things up from this meeting and putting together what I can for the agenda before I leave. As I said, just one day, I don't know what I'll be able to get on the agenda from ordinances and other stuff, but I'll certainly try and pack as much as I can in that day before I leave. And that's it.
Any questions for the city manager?
Yeah, I'd like to know what we're doing with the city hall. They're going, have they pulled all their permits and everything? Are they necessary?
So River Rec Teen Zone has pulled their permits, and at this point, the Friends of City Hall, all they've been doing is pulling down the, like, covering materials. They haven't torn down any walls or anything.
They tore down a complete stairway and rebuilt it. Did anybody get
That
look at?
was started when we still owned the building.
I don't think so, but then never mind. The dump?
The dumpsters, so the.
No, the dump we own on Indian
Sorry.
Trail. I get bugged every day about that, and I tell them to call you, you're the owner of the property. I'm not, I just work here just like everybody else. I'm not the owner of the property. But I've told them, if you got a problem with it, give them a call, you know? They've got so many, there's like anywhere else, there's interaction in the office that doesn't work. And one fighting the other, so we're kind of caught in the middle, being we own the dump, but nobody's telling us what they're after. So I always wondered if they have gotten back with you on any of that.
What are you specifically talking about, the dump? The
landfill.
The PFAS,
The one on Indian Trail.
is that what they're concerned about?
Yeah, I've only gotten letters from Eagle that they're in essence going to be testing, and they're going to have public meetings. That's all the information that I've received so far.
Well, they got this a few years ago, this happened, and they got up in arms over there, and the DEQ came over and tested the well, the open well that was there, and tested the water, tested everything, and I don't know what the miracle was, but they dumped it right into the road ditch because there was no problem with the water.
They never tested for PFAS before.
So,
That is a new test.
Yeah.
that
Right.
they're running
So,
now.
so the state of Michigan, with all industrial waste discharges, started the PFAS testing, and then they moved to landfills to test the leachate, the stuff that squirts out at the bottom of the landfills.
Yeah.
Then they issued a report in March of this year on landfills in particular, and concluded that landfills are not necessarily PFAS culprits. I'm representing about 10 landfills now on their PFAS testing. So most of them, we had to submit a best management practice for the testing. We got compliance agreements back, and the state was satisfied. So we're you know, if you have any questions on that, I can get with Elaine. Unfortunately, I know way too much about PFAS.
Fortunately for us.
Unfortunately for me. So I'm working with the Great Lakes Water Authority on all of their PFAS circular issues in the community from all the industrial waste sources. But I can help you on the landfill issue.
something new. And the other thing was, we used to cut that at top of the hills and stuff over there. It's all overgrown now with, I don't know if you can get in there and even cut it.
My understanding is it's under state management now.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you have state control over that dump, and one of the things, as ironic as it sounds, is the control of infiltration of precipitation is one of the things that reduces the PFAS, because the water doesn't get in, the water doesn't drain out the PFAS. So a lot of the state dumps in the area, they're letting them overgrow and creating multiple barriers from the infiltration of the rain and the runoff. And that's been one solution to controlling the leachate.
Well, my thing with them is when they bug me about it is that you got Farmington, you got a few other places, Southfield. I think they've taken their dumps and made them into sled hills and recreational places because there's not the contamination that everybody thinks. You can find arsenic in your backyard if you dig a hole and have it tested.
Yeah, right after you get through the aluminum.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and the last thing I got is King Road, the KFC hall. We're at that with our licensing. That, and you sent us a letter that you started with everybody else. How many do we have?
So tomorrow morning, Joe is supposed to go out and do an inspection, and if everything's fine, he'll sign off on that business license, and that one will be set.
And Joe is our fire marshal.
Fire chief, he's kind of
Fire
doing
marshal.
dual roles.
He's not technically a fire marshal.
No. So I don't know if he can sign off on it, but that's technically.
Right now, it's all we got,
Yeah,
so.
so. Okay, thank you.
The mosaics in the park, where are we at with that?
I
thought it was gonna be done a month ago.
I actually thought a
Or more.
representative was going to come and speak tonight during public comment about that. I think she had kind of looked to change some locations, and Mike had said that if she wants to change locations, she needs to come back here. So I'm not sure when or where they are with that.
Huh.
Did we ever approve the locations?
Done.
We never did final approval.
No,
No.
We never got final location.
no.
No.
Yeah, the locations that she was looking at were subject to going out there with Mike and looking, checking about the trees, roots, and all that kind of stuff. And it was supposed to come back if everything was good. Those were the final locations, and we just,
We don't have a timetable for them. You know, if you
No.
don't do it in a year, you're done. Like, you know, ZBA, if you don't go back and it's not done in a year, you're done. Okay.
Any
Yeah,
other
we've-
questions?
We've talked about that in the past, about potentially changing the ordinance, that once you get an approval, you know, it's either good for 6 months or a year. I would think they could potentially do something like that in a motion that, you know, this is.
You can always condition your approvals on time.
For each individual one?
Yeah.
Right.
Just say, I hereby move to approve that event, subject to it being conducted within 6 months.
Conducted or completed?
Completed, whatever
Right.
you choose.
Okay.
Yeah, like the mayor had said earlier about that new subdivision going in and completing that road going out.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, and that would, I mean, we talk about dumping money into roads and fixing our roads, and now we have a chance to complete a road, and somebody else put it in for us. And the planning commission is a recommending body to the board. The board can tell that contractor to go ahead and put that temporary road in and not use our roads.
I think for site plans in your community, the planning commission is the final authority, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it doesn't come to us.
For site plan.
Right.
And that was approved at Planning Commission. And there was some discussion about that at Planning Commission, I think at a future meeting after the approval. And I did contact the person that was planning that and let him know some of, I think it was your concerns about the road. And it sounds like they may wind up actually doing a temporary road through there.
Those are narrow, and if you put one car there, they're not going to get their equipment in there. That's what I was talking to Mike about. It's just as simple them, they're tearing up our roads to come in with a temporary road. So,
Yeah, I think that they're thinking, in hindsight, yeah, that might be a better idea, and we might do that. It was one of the things for planning approval that was discussed. It wasn't required, but it sounds like they may do that, but they're not required to,
Okay, thank you.
for the motion. Yep.
Lisa?
Yeah, well, I still think you ought to look into that, because I think putting all that into that one area. When are we gonna get a fix on West Boulevard? I've been approached by those neighbors.
You're talking about the water, the ponding. Yeah, it's on.
Keep trying to tell them, I don't get a whole lot of, I mean, have you talked to the company?
I have not talked to them. Mike said that they were supposed to be coming out and figuring out how to fix it.
Okay, well, can we get some type of date, or can he send a letter, or can I see something so that I can show them in good faith that we are trying to do something, because these people have been very patient, but, you know, it gets kind of old having to keep going back telling them that I can't
Do you
give
want
them
me
an
to give
answer.
you something, or?
Well, I'd like, the city should be able to give us something so that I can at least let them know, or you guys can contact these homeowners or something, because,
I would love to talk to them if they want to give me a call.
well, it'd be better if we called them instead of them having to call us. The other one is.
Either way, if I can get a number, that's fine.
All right. And on the burnt house, I'm glad that we finally have a letter. I've talked to those people, because this has been a real burden for that neighborhood, because the next house is not more than 20 feet away from this, and the stench coming from it with this heat has been really, really bad. They can't even open their windows. They also have another house on the other side that's just as bad with the vermin. I've talked to them. They will try to come see you about that particular
Yep.
resident, so that we can get that one going at the same time. And I have one for you. We talked about the engine brake ordinance, and I've been waiting weeks on this one too.
I've been working on a lot of other things.
Well, but we have a whole lot of people that now again at 5:30 in the morning are getting woke up by the trucks coming through.
I know.
And-
We have a draft, and
Well, I
that's one of
got
the
two of
things
them for ya.
I'm hoping for the
Well, let me
next
have-
meeting.
I found two nice ones. One goes in a noise ordinance, one goes in, they just did a quickie. And then signs are $14.60 a piece if you buy at least 3. You know, but I mean, you told me the chief was doing it, and the chief shouldn't be doing it, we should be doing it, and the chief's now on vacation, and again, I'm talking to these homeowners that have had it up to here with the, you know, they live with those semis daily, and now the engine brakes are back at 5:30 in the morning, waking them up. And,
Is there any way we can reroute those trucks?
no, that's the truck route.
That is the truck route.
That is the truck route. They can't go down M29 to Broadbridge to Marsh and out?
No,
So we've been working on the compression brake ordinance. We're not calling it Jake brake
Yep, I-
to offend the brand.
yes.
But the research so far is showing that it's best addressed under noise ordinance.
Yep, I gave you one.
provisions. The rationale being that there is an argument from the industry that these brakes are, you know, vital parts of safety measures for the trucks, but they don't have to do the noise part. Okay, so I presented some language to the city manager on that.
Yeah, the one I got from,
I think I've seen one of them that you have.
yeah, the one.
You have Grand Haven and you
Yeah,
have,
Grand Haven just put it in their noise ordinance, and
Yeah.
there's a paragraph in there that they just
most people are
included it.
putting them in the noise ordinances to avoid the controversy of trying to regulate something that is required
Yes.
in the trucking industry.
Yeah, and I do know there's also.
So you go after the noise, not the brake.
Correct. And in residential areas, they don't technically need it unless we had some steep
Unless you had some
incline.
downhill.
Correct.
Right.
You know,
And it's all in, there's such a limited speed in those
Yep.
areas.
yeah,
Well, I have a little experience with it. They can manage this if they want.
Yes.
yeah,
It can be managed.
yeah. It's just bad because with the.
And we're thinking of making it a civil infraction, ticket item off the court, so.
With the volume that we're getting from the Edison, and that's a 3-year contract, we just, you know, it's just not fair that, they're not complaining technically about the trucks, just the noise, and.
It's all about the noise.
Yeah.
So we can expect to see something for the next meeting.
I
Yes.
gave Bob a deadline of Monday.
Okay, good.
'Cause-
This
Once
morning,
it's handled.
This morning I got that.
Thank
Our
God.
Noise ordinance don't have 7 o'clock if you're in construction,
Yes,
you know.
But
But
that
they-
doesn't pertain to, the noise ordinance doesn't pertain to,
you need
Vehicles
you
down
need
the
a
road.
specific
yes.
sentence for those trucks.
Mm-hmm.
I've read all about that too,
Yeah,
so.
I found I have pretty good language.
Okay.
All right, at least I can tell them something because, you know, the poor, one person was ready to move because they just couldn't take the noise anymore. And it's not fair to them.
No.
Anyone else have any questions for the city manager? All right, hearing none, let's move on to commissioner privilege. Cheryl, you want to go ahead and get us started?
Yes, we have a bunch of volunteers that have been out and about cleaning parks and roadways and that kind of stuff. I think if you go to all the parks, walk through them or ride through them on a bike, I mean, everything looks really great right now. I was part of the beach pavilion. There was a group of ladies that met out there, and we weeded and then preened, and then Mike came in and with mulch, and that looks really good. Georgia Phelan's been working on the boulevard. All the other parks have, you know, people, but we still need volunteers to clean our parks, whether it be, you know, a kid group. I mean, kids can weed, and it's a good thing for them to do. We still have Lighthouse Park, King Road Park. So if you are a member of any kind of an organization and you're looking for something to do, it doesn't require much work. We could use some volunteers to help clean our parks. Maritime Days is coming up, August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then we also have Heritage Days coming up in September. And then I just wanted everybody to just be aware, like for Maritime Days and things like that, just to, you know, we get very busy on all of our streets, and just to be cautious and obey speed limits and watch for kids. That's it.
Mr. Clausen.
Oh, we got Comic-Con coming up in September.
And it's,
And that's it.
Hey, I just want to kind of like piggyback on what Commissioner Verkaman said. I want to thank the volunteers who have helped take care of our parks. I know it's, you know, we have these beautiful parks and they get overgrown and it, you know, the city can't manage them all, and the volunteers are really kicking in and helping out a lot. So thank you for that. And just, you know, I think by the time most people hear this, it'll probably be past, but this might not be the last heat wave we get hit with. So please be careful, keep yourselves hydrated, keep your pets hydrated, keep them cool and yourselves cool, and, you know, so that nothing bad happens. And also, folks, be careful in that water out there right now. That water is nasty. It's just, it's fast, it's deep, it's cold. And I think it's just a little different than what we've had in the past years. And we've had some close calls, and we've also had some tragic accidents. So let's try to avoid them. Just be careful. Respect that water. I mean, I know we all live on it and we see it every day, but it is what it is, and it doesn't care who you are. So just be careful.
With the heat, the county has opened all the libraries as cooling centers, so if people don't have air, or if your air fails, please go to one of the centers and use those. Don't try to tough it out. It's going to be a miserable couple days. Hopefully next week is better. I was contacted by Mr. Haas, and he hasn't been able to attend the meetings. But he does have some concerns about the flooding issues and what the city's doing. I told him I would bring it up. I know I've been asking. I know we've only done a couple things, but I think we have to have some type of plan. I know the other communities are having meetings with the people that are affected. I think we have to start looking at things and not wait till winter time, because if we get an ice jam this year and it backs up, we're all going to be in trouble, especially along Bell River and the Point. So I think a lot of people don't know what to do, who to contact, what's available. That's one of them. And then the safe routes to school thing, I've had some more concerns about that. One person will stop when somebody puts the light on and everybody buzzes right through there, so people don't understand or can really see those lights very well. And so even though it's safe routes to school, everybody's ignoring them when they're on, and so the kids need to really be careful not to even go out into that crosswalk until everybody stops. But people just don't understand what they're supposed to do. So again, I think we need some type of way to get that out so that people can get educated on that. That they do have to stop when those people are in the crosswalks and when they use the button and the lights are flashing. But the lights are very odd in the daytime. They're kind of hard to see. Nighttime it's better, but it's the daytime. But I know a lot of people that have stopped and everybody else has blown right by them, and you know, we don't need anybody getting run over in those when we're trying to solve that. And that's it for today.
Nothing.
Nothing. Anything, Mr. Davis? No, nothing. You have nothing? Okay. Yeah, the heat's gonna be excessive right now, so let's everybody be careful. You know, there's times that it's better to mow the lawn. Middle of the day in this heat's probably not the best, so especially those that are a little more affected, you're elderly and they're extremely young, be very careful. And then, again, anything in a closed vehicle, just be careful with the closed vehicles. The heat goes up fast enough in the spring, but now it's even more excessive. So other than that, we did get a resolution to the drowning in St. Clair this morning. They did find the young man, so I want to reach out to the family members. I actually worked with his grandfather at the Sheriff's Department. It's a wonderful family, and it's just a very tragic accident that hopefully doesn't happen again. So with that, can I get a motion to
I'll
adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion, support, all in favor?
Aye.